Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Women of Impact changing the world. Changing the world? Changing the world. That's what it is. Sorry, but I'm not used to not wearing a hat. I've been doing that for the last 16 days. Oh boy. So yeah, this is a documentary. It's from 2019. It's 45 minutes long, and it basically touches on so many of the women who are making changes in the world today and the women who inspired them. So they're not growing up here in a vacuum, and they're not just suddenly, oh, look at me, I'm a woman who knows how to do things that are influential in the world and changing science and technology. No, you got to start somewhere. But the great thing is that it's been going on for decades. It's been going on for centuries. Hey, you know what? A teenage girl invented science fiction, Mary Shelley, Frankenstein. Lucille Ball is the one who made it possible for Star Trek to be on television. Yeah, if it wasn't for her, Star Trek wouldn't exist. That's the nerdy stuff. Then comes the important, really important stuff like science and biochemistry and archaeology, understanding our past, our present, and our future. These women have gone above and beyond, and going back to, we get to see them talking about Jane Goodall and the work she did out in the jungles with the apes and everything else, and just how an anthropologist, that changed the way we understood not just those creatures, but ourselves, and how she's inspired so many other women since then to go into the same field or similar fields and to advance that knowledge. That's no small thing, especially in an era in which, there was a time that it was just a default. It was just a given that women would just be in the home raising kids. While there's nothing wrong with that, it is probably the most wonderful thing that a woman can do, give birth and raise children. That is never something that should be ever said to be, well, it's not as good as being a scientist. Well, no, it's not. It's just something that was expected for so long, and it doesn't mean that they can't do both. Influence the little people in the home and influence the people of the world with knowledge and wisdom and technology and science and everything else, and everything that we can learn to make our society and our world better, change that world. So yeah, these are women who have had an impact. We get to see a number of women talk about struggles, the same struggles that men have to go through in understanding and learning and everything else, but having to deal with the belief that they are lesser than just for being women, for just having women parts. And those things tend to be scary for a lot of men. We see that still today, very much so. Anytime a woman decides to be herself. And yeah, especially in the nerd realm, we see that all the time. But in the science realm, men have not, especially in the last century, did not really like having women side by side with them, to the point that it scared them to be in their presence and treat them as equals. When we had men going underwater and like Jacques Cousteau and everybody, or climbing mountains, there's snow in their crusted beards. That's the image that we saw when we saw men conquering Mount Everest, or men diving deep into the sea, discovering new underwater creatures and landscapes and everything else under the water. When women joined that, it was suddenly, we got to put them in a different boat because we might be tempted. Come on. It's the kind of thing that just is still mind-boggling, but it's not gone away. We have, there was one woman who was telling a story, and I dropped my paper that left my notes. Hold on. Let me find her name. I had, since the IMDb and it doesn't really give the names, I had to take notes on all the names that I saw. I missed a few, I'm sure. But Dr. Sylvia Earle, she is well known for her advancements in undersea exploration and biology and things like that. undersea marine biology, I would think. She tells a story in this, which is just, it's mind-boggling, how they pretty much expected her, like, oh, you can come along, but you got to do the dishes and cook the dinners. Can you imagine being told that today? No, because people like her had to go through that crap first that made it possible for women to be seen as equals in that field. Later on, I mean, even so, when they started getting more and more women in that field, they had to separate them and put them in a different thing, a different diving group. And even then, the media would look at them as, oh, they're not aquanauts. Like, that's how the men would be called, aquanauts. They'd be called aquanauties. It's just, it's something, it's just so cringy. I think when they said it, it was not meant to be derogative. It's just, that's the only hook they could put on it. It's like, oh, way to go, girls. You go have some fun there. You're so cute when you do that. It's, so yeah, you get to see a number of people, number of women who have to deal with that kind of chauvinism, that kind of misogyny, as it's a normal thing. It's not like it's something that I'm going to try to be a jackass, I'm going to try to be a jerk to women. It was just considered normal. It was just, that's the way it was. Why would you think to treat them as equals? It didn't cross anybody's mind to speak that way to them and about them. It's obnoxious. But the great thing about this is that you see a number of women dealing in things like archaeology, anthropology, biochemistry, did I say anthropology? Photography, and filmmakers. I have this list. News anchors like Robin Roberts, and she's a TV personality, marine biologists, even a comedian, Al-Shamahi, and you can just tell by that name, she's got a number of things going against her when it comes to popular culture. A woman has an Arab background. Yeah, you can tell that if she's making a joke, it's going to make somebody uncomfortable. But I'm going to give you these names because they don't have it listed on the IMDb entry, and I had to take notes. I was like, I need to have these names put out here somewhere. So you're going to hear from a number of people, of which I'm going to mispronounce their names, like Jennifer Doudna, Dr. Jennifer Doudna. And by the way, most of these names have doctor in front of their name or PhD at the end. Whether they do or not, they're still incredible women who have made some incredible changes to this world. And if they're some of them are only starting and some are due for some really big stuff to come. So we have Dr. Marina Elliott, Dr. Heather J. Holdaway, Lolly Lichtenfeld, Dr. Sylvia Earle, Dr. Katie Croft Bell, Jane Goodall, talked to her about before, Dr. Joyce Poole, Lynn Johnson, Dr. Gladys Kalema-Zikusoka, Dominique Goncalves, Kavita Gupta, Robin Roberts, as I said, Dr. Intan Susi Nurati, Dr. Asha DeVos, Jean Case, Annie Griffiths, Ella Al-Shamahi, and Martha Raddatz. Seriously, if you recognize any of those names, well, good on you. If you don't, it's time to learn about them. And I know it sounds like, it's time to learn about women and the impact they make. You know what? This is the kind of thing, if it doesn't interest you, you can skip it. Nobody's forcing you. But if you're a woman and you feel like somehow you've been crapped on enough that you'd think you can go nowhere in this world, and you don't have to be the greatest biochemist in the world or a world traveling archaeologist or anything like to that level. It just shows that women are able to do anything a man can and excel and make a great impact and change the world. And it's something that not enough kids, little girls, are getting to see. So show this to your little girls. Watch it with your little girls. Moms, watch this with your little girls. Watch it with your little boys too. It won't hurt them. It'll show them that they're not just girl things and just boy things, that these are things that we have a responsibility. All of us have a responsibility. I make dumb little videos about Disney Plus stuff. It's nothing important, but doesn't mean that I can't do more, that I am not destined to do great things, and that my gender should not be something that holds me back, especially for a woman, because man, you do some extraordinary things, including pushing out babies, and that is something I can't do, and that, yeah, you can have that. You gals are good at that. Oh God, that sounded derogatory. Oh God, you ladies are quite good at putting out the babies. Sorry, that's not how I wanted to end this. Okay, speaking of which, and this is like my third take. Yeah, I've had to do this before. I had technical difficulties and messed something up. The second time I wore the Christmas hat, like it was like a knee-jerk thing. So I did it again. So I have already picked tomorrow's episode in the first try. And I didn't know about the technical difficulty until after I did the playback. Anyway, so I already know what the next one is, and I'm going to tell it to you right now. It's Mickey Mouse Mixed Up Adventures. It's a Disney Junior series, and that's what we're going to be watching next. Mickey Mouse Mixed Up Adventures on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.